Shatashri Srimad Hills Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Parivrajkacharya Ashtottara Shatashri Srimad Hills Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Grantraj Shrimadbhagavatam Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome to Devasana Mandir ISKCON Detroit Shrimadbhagavatam morning class. So today we are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 11, Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwaraka, text 37. Let us start with invocation prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Welcome to Devasana Mandir ISKCON Detroit Shrimadbhagavatam morning class. So today we are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 11, titled Lord Krishna's Entrance into Dwaraka, text 37. Tam Ayam Manyate Loko Tam Ayam Manyate Loko Tam Ayam Manyate Loko He Asangam Api Sanginam He Asangam Api Sanginam He Asangam Api Sanginam Atma Upamena Manujam Atma Upamena Manujam Atma Upamena Manujam Vyapranavanam Yato Abudha Vyapranavanam Yato Abudha. Anyone would like to repeat?
Tamayam
manyate loko
Yasangam api sanginam Atmaupamena
manujam
Vyapranavanam yato Buddha.
Tamayam manyate loko
Isangam api sanginam Atmaupamena manujam Vyapranavanam yato Buddha. Let us go word by word. Tam. On to Lord Krishna. I am all this common men. Manyate. Do speculate within the mind. Loka. The conditioned souls. He.
he
certainly,
certainly,
asangam,
asangam,
unattached,
unattached,
api,
api,
in spite of,
in spite of,
sanginam,
sanginam,
affected,
affected,
atma,
atma,
self,
self,
aupamena,
aupamena,
by comparison with the self,
by comparison with the self,
manujam,
manujam,
ordinary man,
ordinary man,
vyapranavanam,
vyapranavanam,
being engaged in
being engaged in
yata,
yata,
because,
because,
abuddha,
avadha,
foolish because of ignorance.
foolish because of ignorance.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Sharanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Translation. The common materialistic conditioned souls speculate that the Lord is one of them. Out of their ignorance, they think that Lord is affected by matter, although He is unattached. Please repeat. The common materialistic conditioned souls
Conditioned souls
speculate that
speculate that
the Lord is one of them.
the Lord is one of them.
Jai Shri Shri Radha Sandi Bihari Devi Jagannath Dev Baldev Subhadramaya. Jai Shri Shri Radha Balgiri Goswami. Jai. Out of their ignorance, they think that the Lord is affected by matter, although He is unattached. Purport. The word abuddha is significant here. Due to ignorance only, the foolish mundane wranglers misunderstand the Supreme Lord and spread their foolish imaginations amongst innocent persons by propaganda. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is the original primeval personality of Godhead, and when He was personally present before the eyes of everyone, He displayed full-fledged divine potency in every field of activities, as we have already explained in the first verse of Shrimadbhagavatam. He is completely independent to act however He likes, but all His actions are full of bliss, knowledge and eternity. Only the foolish mundaners misunderstand Him. Unaware of His eternal form of knowledge and bliss, which is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads. His different potencies work in perfect plan of natural sequence and doing everything by the agency of His different potencies. He remains eternally the Supreme Independent. When He descends on the material world by His causeless mercy to different living beings, He does so by His own potency. He is not subjected to any condition of the material modes of nature, and He descends as He is originally. The mental speculators misunderstand Him as the Supreme Person, and they consider His impersonal features as inexplicable Brahman to be all. Such a conception is also the product of conditioned life, because they cannot go beyond their own personal capacity. Therefore, one who considers the Lord on the level of one's limited potency is only a common man. Such a man cannot be convinced that the personality of Godhead is always unaffected by the modes of material nature. He cannot understand that the sun is always unaffected by infectious matter. The mental speculators compare everything from the standpoint of experimental knowledge of their own selves. Thus, when the Lord is found to act like an ordinary person in matrimonial bondage, they consider Him to be like one of them, without considering that the Lord can at once marry 16,000 wives or more. Due to a poor fund of knowledge, they accept one side of the picture while disbelieving the other. This means that due to ignorance only, they always think of Lord Krishna as like themselves make their own conclusions, which are absurd and unauthentic from the version of Shrimadbhagavatam. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Sta He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So let me go through the translation once again. The common materialistic conditioned souls speculate that Lord is one of them. Out of their ignorance, they think that Lord is affected by matter, although he is unattached. So today is the auspicious day of Bhishmashtami. So we're gonna see after Bhagavatam discussion about that. And so this verse mainly focuses on theme like why conditioned souls misunderstand Krishna when he appears among them. So, as we know in this chapter, how Lord Krishna is entering Dwaraka and how all the people, all the citizens of Dwaraka are receiving him, like various types of people in the society, they were receiving him in a very exciting, enthusiastic way. So, they are very overwhelmed with devotion, awe and love. Simultaneously, outsiders and mundaners misjudge him. So this text, this verse explains a perennial problem. Even when God appears directly before our eyes, people still misunderstand him. So many people, if you see in current society, many people say, oh, it's just a mythological thing, or Krishna is just a historical hero, and God cannot be a person, it's an energy or something like that. So it's an aspect of the Supreme Personality of our Godhead, but it is not the complete perception or view. So here we see the main problem is among us is like we measure the infinite using our finite experience, which is not possible. And we try to speculate that infinity thing with our mundane mind and thinking. So here Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that this misunderstanding is not innocent, it is rooted in ignorance, pride and mental speculation. So today we're gonna see three main sections like why conditioned souls project their own limitations onto Krishna, and how Krishna acts in the world yet remains completely unaffected, and why mental speculation leads to impersonalism and offense. So, starting with the section like why conditioned souls project their own limitations onto Krishna. So it's Atma Pamena. So projecting our conditioned nature onto Krishna. So here, the conditioned souls judge Krishna by comparing him with themselves. I would like to quote a small analogy over here. Like, if you take in the example of a prison where the prisoners will stay. So when either chief minister or prime minister or some delegate enters the prison, that prisoners think that, oh, he also did something wrong, and they don't think that person has a very higher position or higher delegate. But yeah, to their thinking, it's like they're out of their own ignorance, they are thinking like that. But does that change any position of that superior person, whoever entering into the prison? Because he, either chief minister or prime minister or any delegate or even the supervisor or some jailer, will he, as part of his duty, he just entered into the jail, but that doesn't mean like he is equal to that people over there like prisoners. So similarly, in this material world where we conditioned souls are existing, when Krishna descends in his original form, the fools deride out of his appearance. They think like, oh, he just appeared as a superhero or something, mystic powers he has. But they don't think that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So today we are going to see that. So Atma Pamena means using oneself as the standard. So if I am limited, God must also be limited. So this is a way of thinking of many people in the current society. So we see like how our experience of persons is like in the material condition, which is imperfect and is also influenced by various defects like lust, ego, fatigue and illusion. And we also know the four main defects of conditioned souls, like tendency to cheat, propensity to make mistakes, to be illusioned. Also we have imperfect senses. So with that imperfect senses, how can one see God and how can one understand the philosophy? So with the help of acharyas or saintly personalities association, we can understand that. But people ignore that, and out of their own mental speculation and out of their own research, they do something and they try to gather some information which they don't know which is whether authentic or accurate or not. They just grab some information from various sources and they just try to speculate it and try to spread that false message to others. So therefore people conclude, so if God has a body, so it must be material. How foolish is that? Because He is the one who created an entire cosmic manifestation. So, and also we see many examples in scriptures like Satchidananda Vigraha. He has that Satchidananda Vigraha form which is full of eternity, knowledge and full of bliss. So, and people think like, oh, if Supreme Personality of Godhead, if God is engaging in some rasa dance or he's marrying many wives, they think like, oh, he might be lusty. So Srila Prabhupada calls such people as mundane wranglers because they argue endlessly and they spread confusion among innocent persons. Because whatever they heard from other sources, they try to spread to common people and from which they are being misled. And completely the main context they don't know the actual truth, because by reading scriptures, by hearing from the saintly personalities, acharyas and our gurus, we try to understand what Krishna is and what's the actual philosophy of Krishna consciousness. But these people, they just grab here and there some information and they think like that is only truth and they try to spread it over. They don't evaluate through scriptures. The main thing is like we have to evaluate through scriptures. Even though if someone says something, you can ask humbly to them, politely, you can ask them, okay Prabhu, I agree this, can you please show me the evidence of this, any example from the scripture where it been revealed. So if the respective person is showing you the proper evidence and from proper authenticity, then you can accept it. And then you can spread the word among your peers or any people around you. So even in Bhagavad Gita, in 9th chapter, Krishna says, Avajananti Mamuda Manushinim Tanum Ashritam. So fools deride me when I descend in human form. As we see in the example of prisoners and jailer or a higher personality. So they don't know who is Krishna and what is the purpose of his descendants to here, because they think like, oh, Krishna came to kill demons. He can do being there in the spiritual world, which is full of bliss and full of he's self-sufficient, and also he enjoys in the spiritual world with all his devotees over there. But still he came here in order to uplift us and protect us from this, get out of this entanglement, or also get out of this cycle of birth and death. So Even in Shrimadbhagavatam, in 10th canto and 14th chapter, when Brahma has this realization when he stole the cowherd boys and calves, he realizes this. Even Brahma admits he was bewildered by Krishna's human-like pastimes. Brahma, who is topmost living entity, he got bewildered by by Krishna's transcendental leelas. So how insignificant we are. We have to be very, 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 very careful in understanding the transcendental leelas and philosophy of Krishna consciousness. And even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Adi Leela chapter 2, it is mentioned like Krishna's body is Satchidananda, which is not material and is full of transcendental. So, next comes is like Asangam Api Sanginam, acting in the world but yet unaffected. So, Krishna, he says in the Bhagavad Gita as well, in chapter 4, text 9, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yovetti tatvadaha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. So he says, Arjuna, who understands my appearance or my birth and my activities are transcendental, one who understands this in truth, he never returns to this material world after quitting this material body. So how wonderful is that in understanding Krishna's transcendental leelas and his appearance. So Krishna performs his activities that look material, but they are fully transcendental. And we have to know the purpose behind it through the vision of acharyas, because we cannot understand if we try to read the scriptures from our perception. We try to mental speculate it more. So that's why we should take the help of acharyas. Like Srila Prabhupada has given us Bhagavatam, which is translated in English, and amazing purport. So we have to hear from acharyas, we have to read the scriptures which has the proper translations and all, so that you will get a proper picture. And also if you have any doubts, you can clarify with the saintly personalities or else with the senior devotees as well. So here, Krishna, as we have seen in the previous verses, he marries 16,108 queens and he rules the kingdom Dwarka and he engages in family life. So many people in this current society think like, oh, Krishna is also has ruling kingdom and Krishna is also marrying wives and he is also maintaining, following Grihastha ashram and he is also following a similar life kind of us. But still, Bhagavatam concludes that in this scenario itself, like 16,000, he marries when he marries 16,108 queens, he himself expands to those 16,108 personal forms, and he was present simultaneously with each and every one. And each queen experiences Krishna fully. So how fortunate is that? We try to speculate it through our mundane vision, and we try to think that, oh, Krishna is doing this, Krishna is doing that, why can't I do this, why can't I do that? Oh, Krishna has killed many demons. Can you kill any demons in this current society? Okay, you can say like there are no demons in this current society, that's okay. Krishna has lifted at the age of 7 over the hill for 7 days and 7 nights. Can you just lift a chair and hold it for at least 7 hours? No, we can't hold it. So we can't compare Krishna's activities with our own material and mundane activities, because his activities are leela or transcendental activities which are aloof from karma. He doesn't have any karma because he is beyond this material nature. He is governed by his internal potency, but this whole material nature is governed by him. So he is not affected by this material modes of nature. And and the main difference between the soul and super soul or Ishvara is we are affected, but he is never affected, and he is the cause of all causes. He is the cause of all causes. He is a sarva karana karanam. So he can do anything and everything, but he has unlimited potencies, unlimited wealth, unlimited opulences, but still he is unaffected because he is aloof from this materialism, and also he is completely renunciate. He doesn't depend on anything or anyone. He just wants the love of his pure devotees. That's it. That's the thing he wants. He expects from each and every one of us. So, even in the Isopanishad, in mantra 4 and 5, it is being stated that Krishna walks but does not walk. Krishna is far away and very near. Because the second one, if you think he is far away and very near, far away he resides in his spiritual world, but still he is very near. He is present as Paramatma in each and everyone's heart. So he is very near to us, right? In our own body he is present. And also in the Shrimadbhagavatam, the first sloka itself, Janmadiyasya Yatha, he is the source and he is not the product. Because he is the origin of everything, he is the cause of all causes. And even in Brahma Samhita it is said, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So, he is the primeval Lord Govinda. And in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text 6, he says like, he appears by his own internal potency. So, many times we see this analogy of Srila Prabhupada saying about fire and iron. So if we constantly heat the iron rod in fire for a long time at high temperature, gradually after few time passed, the iron rod becomes reddish hot, and whatever comes in contact with it is like just burnt into ashes. So now the iron rod, the end is converted into fire. So if fire touches iron, does iron become fire, or does fire become iron? So iron becomes fire. Similarly, if Krishna comes into our life becomes relished, and this material body also becomes spiritualized. So then comes is like mental speculation and the danger of impersonalism. So mental speculation leads to partial truth and complete misunderstanding, because it's not the complete truth, because as we see the forms of realization as first is the Brahmajyotir form, and next is Paramatma form, and next is Bhagavan form. Bhagavan form, which is Supreme Personality of Godhead form, is the complete understanding of, complete perception or view of Krishna. The other two, the Paramatma is the localized aspect of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, and Brahmajyoti is just the, it's just the part of Krishna, the glowing effulgence of Krishna. But it's not the complete aspect, as many people think like, oh, the Brahmajyoti is the topmost thing, that we should meditate upon it and we should engage in the meditation upon it and we should try to achieve it. But still, even if you achieve, there is a risk of falling down from there as well, if you don't understand what is the Krishna, complete concept, complete philosophy of Krishna. So mental speculators accept Brahmajyoti and reject Bhagavan form of realization. They think like, oh, Bhagavan doesn't have any form, that's a light and source of energy, that's it. So why we should understand this as a problem or danger for us? Because Bhagavan demands, like he says us to surrender. He will be protecting everyone and from all our sins. So we have to surrender ourselves onto Krishna, as it is mentioned by Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita in the chapter 18, text 66. Sarva dharma pariteja mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshasyami masucham. So he asks us to surrender. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he demands us to surrender just to protect us and get rid of this material world and stay happily and engage in the service of the Supreme Lord in the spiritual abode. But this Brahman allows independence, and many people try to meditate upon it, and many people accept that form of Lord is very great and that is the ultimate form. But they reject that God has form, God has qualities, and God has relationships. So that's a very impersonal and impersonalism. So many people follow that. And we see, like, even though he is full of riches, he's full of knowledge, full of strength, but still he he is aloof from everything and he renounces everything. He is free from any bondage in this material world, because he is unaffected by this material world. He is the person who created that, so he has the complete authority and supremacy over the material nature, and not only material nature but entire cosmic manifestation. And many people try to speculate on various pastimes of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, and they take only a few, which are little controversial, and they try to make much and much more controversy out of it, but they don't make an attempt to understand what Krishna is trying to say through his pastimes, what we have to take the lessons out of it, because they don't seek the spiritual master or saintly personalities. They try to research among themselves, and that independently they try to speculate on those things, which causes them more and more confusion and more and more dilemma. So, and after getting a partial knowledge on that, they try to spread through among others people who might be knowing nothing, but they just upon hearing that they start thinking like in a wrong way about Krishna and all his associates. So this even in Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, Krishna it is mentioned like impersonal realization is very troublesome to each and every one of us, and it is also proved in Shrimadbhagavatam 10th canto chapter 2, like those who neglect Bhagavan will certainly fall down from their position, whatever the position they may attain, the higher positions, but still they will fall down again in this material world and try to suffer a lot. When they understand who they are and what is Supreme Personality of Godhead, they try to make some endeavors to progress in spiritual life, and they try to engage more and more in the service of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they try to understand their position first, and so that the Supreme Personality of Godhead position is much more beyond their imagination. They can think and they can see with the vision of Acharyas. And even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu declared impersonalism as incomplete realization. It's not complete realization, and it's not advisable to even hear that philosophy, because it may create a lot of confusions and all. And because it's quite an easy analogy. If you are preparing for a topic or some course, if you don't understand or if you have some partial understanding on some topic, if you try to say to others by your own speculations or knowledge, then you may certainly commit some wrong intuition or wrong thinking on that concept, and you try to spread the wrong thing with others. The other person is also affected and you are also affected with that, because you don't have complete knowledge on that or complete understanding on that. Better you can seek the expert advice on that, or you can ask them to explain in a better way, so that you will get a proper understanding. And then if someone asks you, then you can share it deliberately to others, so that both parties will be getting benefited. So conclusion for this is this verse exposes the root cause of misunderstanding God, which is ignorance, projection, and mental speculation. And also it reveals, many people think as Krishna has no form, but still he has the Satchidananda Vigraha form, which is very beautiful, Radha Kunj Bihari form. So Krishna is a person, and he's not material, and he's transcendental. He's unaffected by the modes of material nature and in this material world. Only the thing to understand is like we can understand all this only through the path of bhakti and hearing submissively from saintly personalities or acharyas, Goswamis, and all the Guru Parampara. We have to hear submissively, and whatever the knowledge that we acquire, that will be inculcated more by rendering our service to devotees and also in various ways to Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because even Krishna says like, if you serve my devotees, then that is more than my personal service or my regular service. So we can understand Krishna as he is if we are trying to see Krishna through the vision of acharyas. So some of the key takeaways from this is like God is not understood by comparison but by revelation. When we try to speculate on our own, we mostly misunderstand those because we are conditioned souls and we are having imperfect senses. So, but if we understand through acharyas and Guru Parampara, we try to understand exactly what it is as we see Bhagavad Gita as it is. What Krishna said, that the same thing has been transmitted to all of us in various languages. So, and Krishna's activities are transcendental and not mundane, which is revealed in various scriptures. And mental speculation leads to offense and incompleteness. And bhakti harmonizes form and formless, action and detachment, nearness and transcendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, by this I would like to conclude today's Bhagavatam text. And also today is the auspicious day of Bhishmashtami. So let us see a little thing from this. So here we are gonna see like who are the forefathers of Bhishma. So from Vishnu were descended in the following order: Brahma, Atri, Chandra, Buddha, Pururavas, Ayus, Nahusha, Yayati, Puru, Janamejaya, Prachinava, Pravira, Namasyusu, Vithabhava, Shundu, Bahuvida, Samyati, Rahovadi, Rautrasva, Matinara, Santurodha, Dushyanta, Bharata, Suhotra, Gala, Gadda, Suketu, Brihat Kshetra, Hasti, Ajamida, Riksha, Samvarana, Kuru, Jahnu, Suratha, Vidharta, Sarvabhauma, Jayatsena, Ravyaya, Bhauka, Chakrodatha, Devatithi, Riksha, Bhima, Pratipa, Shantanu, Bhishma. So this is the ancestral tree of Bhishma Deva. And Bhishma name in his boyhood was Devaratha. He was the 8th son of Shantanu, a king of lunar dynasty and Ganga Devi. This boy was the human embodiment of Vayu, one of the Astavasus. Shantanu, his father, was the rebirth of another king, Mahabhisheka. The story concerning this is given in Mahabharata as follows. King Mahabhisheka, after his death, attained Vishnu Loka. Once he went to visit Brahma at Satyaloka. At that time, Ganga Devi was also present in Brahma's assembly. In that pious atmosphere, a gentle breeze began to blow and Ganga Devi's clothes were slightly deranged. Just at that moment, Mahabhisheka took a stealthy glance at her and she also returned that glance. This was noted by Brahma, who turned both of them into human beings by curse. Ganga Devi begged pardon and Brahma lifted the curse and blessed her that the Astavasus would come to earth to be born as her sons and that afterwards she would come back to heaven. After that, Ganga Devi was born as mortal woman in the world under the name Ganga, and she spent her days in the forest near the Ganga river valleys. In those days, the ruler of lunar dynasty was a king named Pratipa. Having no children, he went to the bank of Ganga and performed tapas there. Ganga Devi, who was moving about in the forest nearby, saw the king deeply absorbed in the tapas. She approached him and sat on his right thigh. She wanted the king to be her husband. He explained to her that the right thigh is the proper seat of daughter-in-law, and so she would become his son's wife in the due course. In due course of time, Pratipa has a son, Shantanu, born to him. When Shantanu grew up into a young man, one day he went for a hunt to the Ganga valley, and there he met Ganga Devi. He fell in love with her at first sight and courted her. Ganga Devi agreed to become his wife on the condition that he should not say anything to displease her, and if he violated that condition, she would leave him. The king accepted the condition and they became man and wife. At about that time, the wife of Dyo, one of the Ashtavasus, happened to see the sacrificial cow of sage Vasistha and wished to have it. She expressed her desire to her husband Dyo. Dyo, with the other 7 Vasus, went and took away by force Vasistha's cow. Vasistha Muni, in his anger, cursed the Ashtavasus to be born as mortals. They repented and begged pardon from Vasistha. The sage told them that all of them would be born as the sons of Ganga Devi, and all except Dyo, who actually stole the cow, would return to heaven at the time of birth itself. As for Dyo, he would continue to live in the world for a long time as an adventurous hero. Ganga Devi became pregnant and gave birth to her first child. She carried the child to the river Ganga and threw it into the river. Shantanu, who followed her up to the river bank, did not say anything against her, remembering his promise. 7 children were born to her, and she threw all of them into the river in this way. When she gave birth to the 8th child, Shantanu insisted that he would not allow her to throw away the child in the river. As he had violated the conditions of his promise, the angry Ganga Devi left the palace with her child. She named it Devaratha and brought him up in the forest. The sage Vasistha and Ganga Devi taught him all the branches of knowledge. 32 years later, the king went to the same forest for hunting. He saw a handsome by stopping the flow of river Ganga. Getting interested in the boy, the king approached him, but by the time he had disappeared. The king prayed to Ganga Devi to give back the child. She appeared with the child, and after handing over the child to him, vanished. The king returned to the palace with the child. Devaratha was anointed as heir apparent. One day, King Shantanu reached the forest near Ganga river valley for hunting. As he was hunting, absorbed in the beauty of forest scenery, he felt the perfume of musk filling the air in the forest. He wondered from where it would come. He went on and on, trying to find out the source of his smell, until he reached the cottage of a fisherman. The fisherman had a daughter named Satyavati. It was from her that the fragrance of musk spreading all around. Satyavati's original name was Kali. The fisherman got her from the stomach of a fish. Since she had smell of a fish, she got the name Matsya Gandhi. She used to assist fisherman in his work as a ferryman in the river Ganga. Once, the sage Parashara happened to get into her boat and fell deeply in love with her. The sage removed the smell of fish from her and gave her the perfume of musk instead. By this mystic power, he created a mist at noon, and under its cover he had a sexual union with her. As a result of it, the child Vyasdev was born. The child immediately left the mother to perform tapas in the forest after promising to return to her whenever she wished to his presence. Although she gave birth to child, Parashara blessed her that she would again remain a virgin. The whole episode remained a secret. As usual, Satyavati returned to the fisherman's cottage in the evening and continued to live with him. It is at this stage that Shantanu was attracted by the perfume of musk and came to the cottage where he met Satyavati. The king fell in love with her at first sight. He asked the fisherman to give the girl in marriage to him. But the brave fisherman did not yield to the king's demand immediately. He laid down several conditions, one of which was that Satyavati's sons should succeed to the throne of Shantanu. The king was in a fix. Devavrata was the eldest son and heir apparent. To deny kingship to his sons would be highly improper. Unable to find a solution to this difficult problem, the king returned to the palace. much depressed and gloomy. There he avoided all company and took to his bed, passing his time in sadness and solitude. When Devavrata knew about his father's condition, he called the ministers and asked them about it. They told him everything in detail. At once, without informing even his father, Devavrata went to the fisherman's cottage on the bank of river Ganges and begged for Satyavati on behalf of his father. The fisherman repeated his former condition. Devavrata agreed that Satyavati's son shall be given the right of kinship. The fisherman pointed out that disputes were likely to arise between Devavrata's sons and Satyavati's children regarding the right of succession to the throne. At once, Devavrata stood up and made a solemn pledge, Dridhavrata, that he would remain a bachelor for life. The fisherman gave Satyavati to Devavrata to be taken to the king. Devavrata took her to the palace and presented her to his father. The king, when he became to know of the part played by his son in that matter, rose from his bed and embraced Devavrata with tears of joy and gratitude. The god showered flowers on the scene. Because he had taken such a solemn oath, Dridhavrata, it was declared that henceforth he would be known by the name Bhishma. The loving father Shantanu also gave him a boon that Bhishma would die only when he wished. It is from Mahabharata Adi Parva chapter 100. So it's very auspicious when we try to meditate upon Bhishma Deva's prayers and his history. And he is a great devotee of Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has fortunate to leave his body whenever he could wish, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself is present before him. That was very fortunate by him. And he was the one of the 8 Vasus, and he's the prominent living entity. So, yeah. Hare Krishna. Anyone would like to say any comments, questions, corrections?
Thank you for bringing that up. I did not remember.
Thank you.
Any sister?
It's a recall.
Thank you.
Granth Raj Shrimadbhagavatam ki,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Yeah.